Hey everyone, it's Spilios from Stars Over Bucks. I often get a lot of questions about what equipment I use when I do astrophotography. So today I thought I'd walk you through my setup and tell you how it all works. All right, tonight I'm set up with my largest telescope because we're going to be shooting small galaxies. The most important part of an astrophotography setup is the mount. You need a mount that's really sturdy because it's holding the heavy weight of the telescope. You need a mount that's going to be able to track the sky accurately, which is critical when you're doing astrophotography. So here I'm using the Skywatcher EQ6R Pro. I've had this mount since I started in astrophotography and absolutely love it. It performs really well. So you can see this part here. This points up towards the North Celestial Pole where Polaris is. And then the telescope turns on its axis to track the stars. Then down here we have counterweights, which is basically balancing the weight of the heavy telescope to make sure that you're not putting too much stress on the mount. Telescope that we're using is a Celestron 9¼ inch Edge HD Schmitz-Cassegrain telescope. Again, this is a longer focal length. With a reducer, I get about 1650 millimeters, which allows me to bring a lot of those distant objects a lot closer. So you have the light that'll come through the top of the telescope, travel down to the bottom. This is a folded telescope design, so it comes back up to a mirror in the middle of the telescope and then gets reflected down to the bottom. And here's where the light path goes from there. So right here, I'm using a Celestron 0.7 by reducer. So this takes your focal ratio from an f10 down to an f7. This allows us to collect light a lot faster, which is really critical for astrophotography and also gives you a bit of a wider field of view. Then we go into what's called an off-axis guider. So our mount can never track the sky 100% accurately. So what we have to do is monitor stars in the field of view. And anytime we see an issue where the mount is not tracking perfectly, there's a correction made to the mount to make sure that our object doesn't move around and that we have perfectly circular stars. So the off-axis guider has a small prism down in the bottom. It takes a small piece of light, shoots it up to this camera here, which is our guide camera, and then that is what kind of tracks whether the guiding is working well or not. Come down here, we have a filter drawer if I want to put any filters in, and then this here is the camera. The camera I'm using is an ASI 2600 MC Pro. This is a special camera for astrophotography. It's incredibly light sensitive, which obviously is important for astrophotography. It also has built-in refrigeration that cools the CCD sensor to about -15, -20 degrees Celsius is where I typically shoot at. That's critical to reduce the noise of the sensor and to give you better, sharper images. Over here we have an electronic focuser. So this will basically adjust the focus every couple of hours during the course of the night with temperature fluctuations that can change the focus of the telescope. So this will make sure that we have nice sharp image throughout the course of the night. What controls the entire telescope is a small computer on top of the telescope, which is the ASI Air Pro. So basically all the equipment is connected into this computer, and this really orchestrates it to make sure that it's all working properly. So it takes care of the guiding, takes care of the focusing, takes care of acquiring the images as I'm shooting over the course of the night. And then I'm able to use an iPad to select the objects and make sure that I frame them the proper way at the beginning of the session, the night. And if you go back up here, you'll notice I have a dew shield on here. So this is to prevent the formation of moisture on the front of the lens of the camera. And then we have a dew heater here as well, which provides some additional heat to make sure that we don't have any moisture on the corrector plate. Then if you come up here, just have a quick look at the telescope design here. So like I mentioned, glass corrector plate at the front. There's a mirror at the back of the telescope, and then that light is sent back up to the top where there's a small mirror in the middle of the corrector plate. All right, so that is the setup, and here is the telescope tracking the sky over the course of an entire night. I took an image of Messier 106 that you'll see right now. Thanks everyone for joining.